Hi, I'm Bob Welds, and this is how to read an inch measuring tape using fractions. To keep things simple, we're only going to talk about inches. Also, we're only going to talk about your typical inch ruler or measuring tape. We won't discuss machinist rules or anything fancy like that. We can do that later. I'm going to ask Sparky to show you the kind of ruler that we're talking about. Remember, almost all rulers and measuring tapes have marks and numbers, so let's look closely at the one that we're going to use. On this measuring tape, the numbers are labeled inches. Let's take a closer look at a single inch. I'm going to zoom in to see it better. If you count the marks, you'll see that there are 16. You can do an easy check, count 8 marks, and see if you're at the half-inch mark. Some tapes have 32 marks on the first few inches or so. Just be sure that you check before you start. Now, you might be thinking, why 16 marks? A typical tape measure divides each inch in half, and then each half into quarters. Then the quarters are halved to make eighths. Our tape measure divides the eighths in half to make sixteenths. Now remember, some tapes may have 32 marks. We're only working with one that has sixteenths here. So to measure with the ruler or tape measure, you just need to know the fraction of an inch that the mark represents. Keep in mind that the fraction should always be in simplest form. Let's look at an example to see what I mean. Here you can see the mark at the halfway mark between 1/2 inch and 1 inch. This is the 3/4 of an inch. That means 3/4 of an inch. I'll erase the smaller marks so you can see the quarters easier. Now you can plainly see 3/4. What if I had just counted all of the 12 marks up to the line? Could I find the answer that way? Let's look at that. The fraction would be 12/16. Now, this is technically the right fraction, it just needs to be reduced. Now, this is not true of fractions in general, but reducing fractions to their simplest form on a tape measure or a ruler, like the ones that we're looking at, is easy. You can just keep dividing by 2. If the number on the top is even, your work is not done. Keep dividing by 2 until the top is odd, and then stop. Here, watch. You see, it's always this easy with a ruler or a tape measurer because the denominator, the number on the bottom, can only be 2, 4, 8, or 16. These all divide easily by 2. Now, let's try some practice problems. Pause the video when you see Sparky's pause. Then write your answer down before you hit play again. Take this example. The correct answer is 1/4. If you said 2/8 or 4/16, you were close. You just didn't reduce the fraction. Here's one that's a little harder. Pause the video and figure this one out. Did you say 5/8? Great! See how the numerator is odd? Now if you said 10/16, you need to rewind the video a little and see about reducing. Here's one that's about as hard as they come. See if you can figure this one out. The answer is 13/16. If you see it's on the smallest mark, you know it's 16ths. You can just count the marks, starting at the halfway point with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, And then you can count up to 16 to make sure that you've got it right. 14, 15, 16. Since 13 is odd, we don't have to reduce. We'll do one more. This one is past the 1-inch mark, but I'll bet you know what to do with it. The measurement is 1 3/8. You see, you tack your fraction onto the number of whole inches in the measurement. Okay, if you got those three right, you understand what's going on. Keep in mind when using a new tape measure that you need to know exactly how many marks each inch has. Be sure and count them before you start. If it has 16, then the smallest fraction is a 16th. If it has 32, that's a little bit different, but I'll bet you can figure out how to use it. We just didn't talk about it here. That's all for now. I'm Bob Welds, and these are Weld Notes.